Some people grow up knowing that God is right beside them. He's always been there for them. I didn't. I came to God unwilling and resentful. Some people have an event they can point to, a moment that brought them to God. I didn't. For some people, their coming to God may be a joyous, life-beginning event that changes everything. For others, it's a life-shattering event. It had been a pretty tough year. My 5-year-old son was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, a form of cancer. It was curable, and the chemotherapy worked. Today, he's 6 feet tall, about 3 feet across the shoulders. He has 3 boys of his own, and he's strong as an ox. But then he was only 5, and I couldn't protect him. Our marriage began to suffer. I needed something to take the edge off. Alcohol helped dull the pain, but it didn't help the marriage, or my job, or my other 2 kids, or anything else. Addiction took more and more, and gave less and less until it had taken everything and gave me nothing. When my kids were little, my wife and I began going to a small church near us. We placed membership. I began to sing with the choir. We went to Bible classes. They asked me to teach Bible classes, and they made me a deacon. I never told them that I couldn't understand where their faith came from. I certainly didn't tell them that I was an agnostic, trying to be a believer by willpower. Then, one night, my wife said, "I think I'm an alcoholic. I want to go to the treatment center." I thought, great, that ought to fix some of the problems around here. She drank the last of her beer, and I drank the last of my gin, so I could quit for her. And a week later, I discovered that my hands were shaking, and I couldn't get them to stop. It was withdrawal, the body's reaction to not having its addictive substance. So I was addicted too. I was embarrassed, ashamed, clueless, and scared to death. And my wife very calmly listened to my nonsense and then said, "I think there's a meeting in our hometown tonight. Why don't you go?" She saved my life. I went, and I began to learn to have a God in my life. God's house is a big one, and it has many doors. I came in through a small back door that led to an alley. There was one light bulb above that door and a sign that said, "Meeting upstairs, 8 p.m. It wasn't easy. I owed people money. My boss was talking to his boss about how much longer they could keep me. Our family was a mess. It had to be taken a day at a time, and I needed a God to take over a lot of things that I had broken. I had figured out how to pray church prayers by watching the other men at church, but I'd never tried to sit down and talk to God. I got up one morning to go to work, ate my breakfast, and went to the dark living room and sat down. I said, "To whom it may concern. I hope somebody's there. I hope somebody's listening. I need to stay clean and sober today, and I don't know how. Please help me." At the end of that day, I said, "Thanks for a day of sobriety." The next day, I did the same thing. And so I have continued to do that every morning ever since. It was a long time before I learned the power of saying, "Yes, I will." I have been asked to do a lot of things in God's service that sounded scary, but when I said, "Yes, I will," then I started to learn new things, new ways to help other people that helped me grow. I learned to lead meetings. I learned to ask others to help. I learned to seek out ways to be of service. I was learning to grow up. When I first began learning about serving God, I thought, am I going to have to be a missionary to Africa? I don't want to be a missionary to Africa. But now I've been a missionary to Buster Cole State Jail and a missionary to Grayson County Jail. And it's a pretty neat experience going in and talking to other men about how to live this kind of life. I enjoyed it even before I remembered that Jesus said we ought to do it. Today, I have a wonderful life. Not everything is comfortable and fun, but I can always get to the end of my day and be grateful. I didn't deserve this, not at the beginning and not now. I didn't get this life because I was good, but because God is good. I don't worry about what I've earned, ever. I'm given more than I'm able to receive. Thank you for letting me share.